Crikey, look at these Nintendo fanboys within their inhabitants.
I want to get like the scan disc or whatever.
Crikey, he
So
wants the SanDisk.
I don't know which one I'm gonna get, but I think I'm targeting that one, and I
The
want.
Nintendo Championship Monkey is targeting that animal within the grass. He wants that micro SD card within his hands.
To see if it's gonna be on Amazon, where I can just copy
All through the Amazon.
there. But apparently, a lot of these micro SD cards are going. You know, are going and going. So we'll see what I can get. Most people aren't educated in marketing, sales, business. That's just ignorance. That's just complete ignorance on his end. It's not even like he might be educated on that, but that right there is just absolute ignorance because you're not even paying attention to Japan. You're not paying attention at all if you thought it was going to be a Wii U scenario. Once again, the whole setup was different. Wii U did it.
Yeah, one was a home console and this one's a portable.
Oh, bad initially because
what?
Because the price.
No, I mean it really had more to do with the fact that the hardware that you was buying at the time. And let's not also forget that when the Wii U came out, the next generation consoles came out a year after. So people just said, you know what, I'm gonna wait for this instead. Do you get what I'm saying? They were still playing a 3DSs. They didn't really see the appeal of the Nintendo Wii U. Do you get what I'm saying? This has nothing to do with marketing, bro. And then the price of it was like what, $350? Like, I mean, come on, man. Barely even had power on the level of a PS3 or Xbox 360. I mean, y'all didn't even get some of the same games, bro. The Wii U was a failure.
Oh, bad initially because the marketing was bad. It's so bad initially because the games were not there.
What do you mean? It had quite a few games at launch. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but they still had a few good games, though. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like you guys are just bashing the Wii U because y'all running on this whole Switch 2 bandwagon train. And like I said, man, there's one thing the Wii U can sit there and say that it did, that they actually made those games. Mario Kart 8, Breath of the Wild, the same games that you guys are out there playing on the Switch. So if the Wii U had good games like this, then what didn't make people flock to it? Oh yeah, that's right, because it's a home console. And we already know that Nintendo makes most of its money through portable gaming. They have been doing this ever since the Game Boy didn't have color. Y'all know this.
That's why it sold bad initially. It sold bad after the first number of weeks.
It's so bad. Player says just say it's so bad, bro. We don't. Oh, it's so good, for the past week, and then no, bro, it's so bad.
So bad.
Just admit it.
Okay, not as good as Switch 2.
I forgot he was one of the first people defending the console. Now he's probably happy. Yeah, we finally, bro. But at the end of the day, bro, Nintendo had to leave the home console market just so they could succeed because they couldn't manage making home consoles. Matter of fact, they were far worse than what Microsoft's doing. Do you get what I'm saying? Nintendo was besides a few others like Sega, but I'm just saying in regards to the big three, Nintendo was one of the first to leave home consoles. But Nintendo fanboys don't want to bring that up, all because the Switch 2 can get docked. You could take a portable device and play it on a TV screen. Is there a reason as to why Nintendo never left home consoles? They've been left, y'all.
But yeah, so he doesn't know anything about the setup. He doesn't know the whole setup at all. He doesn't know why Wii U even sold bad. Everybody knows what the hell the Switch 2 is. Whether you can afford one or not, or whether you're going to get one or not, is another question. But everyone knows what it is. And that's why I said the misinformation and the silly videos from the clickbait videos and the misinformation actually is too. All it's doing is putting more bullet points of Switch 2. People look at that $80 games. Well, let me go research it. Wait a minute. I want Donkey Kong. And if you see a video where someone says, everything's $80, and then someone says, everything's $80, okay, well, let me look. And then
there's one thing I could tell you, that the vast majority of the library that's dropping on it is on a game key card. How about you talk about that, man? I find it so funny that you Nintendo fanboys that have been bashing PlayStation and Xbox, for their lack of physical media, now the ones damage controlling for, and say, well, it's not Nintendo, it's there, but it doesn't matter. Because that shows you that Xbox and even PlayStation have way more third-party games that are on the disc than what you're getting with the Nintendo Switch 2. So nobody want to hear it, bro. It's so funny that the same ones that advocated said the PS Vita was terrible because of expensive memory cards are the same ones paying $100 for a micro espresso Starbucks SD card from Nintendo or SanDisk. You guys are pathetic, man. I don't care what you Nintendo fanboys are accepting mediocrity beyond beliefs that I never thought you guys would go to.
Recently, look, Donkey Kong 70. Oh, wait a minute, hold up, Cyberpunk 70. Oh, wait a minute, hold up. Street Fighter is 60 or it's 40. Wait a minute, Bravely Deep. Wait, everything's not 8.
Yeah, but it's on a game key card though. Besides Cyberpunk, you do understand that all the games that you mentioned are on a game key card, which essentially means that the game is not even on the cartridge. And you was out here defending and damage controlling that.
$80? What the heck? What are you talking about? So all of these videos of misinformation actually backfired. Like with Moist Critical or with Angry Joe, they're allowed to have their opinions, by the way. They have
It's not an opinion. It's not an opinion, though. Now, in regards to it failing, I mean, I already kind of knew it was going to succeed, man. You Nintendo fanboys, you guys accept Mediocrity. You've been doing it for over 20, 30 years, okay? But my point still stands is the fact that what justification does Nintendo have to charge $80 for Mario Kart World? You guys still have not, answered that question. Let's also talk about the fact that, like, the majority, besides Cyberpunk 2077, is not on the cartridge. Everything else that's been released on the Switch 2 as of right now, or should I say currently, has been nothing but a game keycard. It's gone as far to have games like Sonic Shadow Generations, and Suikoden, which are all on the Switch 1 cartridge, but they won't be on the Switch 2 one? Like, that doesn't make sense. Now, mind you, I think this has a lot to do with storage capacity. Maybe Sega used the 16 gigabyte, and from what I heard, the Sonic Shadow Generations would be more like a 24, so they would have to use a 32 gigabyte. So that would make the game more expensive. But I would have preferred if Sega says, hey, you know what? We will put it on the cartridge for you, but you'll have to pay $10 initially more for it, just so you can maintain the game. I think that would have personally been better. But no, you guys are getting inferior versions of the game that are not even on the physical media that you people are buying.
Own opinions, but there was misinformation in a lot of the videos. There was incomplete information. That actually,
yeah, just like you guys have incomplete games on like 99% of the third-party games that are dropping on your platform.
Ended up I would say
those ain't opinions; those are facts.
Firings, I don't think they want the system to fail. They're just giving their own opinion. But like a lot of that actually ended up to where people started researching it. More people started making videos, responding to them. People started talking about it a lot more. So ultimately, I think it ended up being a marketing boom, not necessarily.
It was going to succeed regardless, though. That's what y'all don't understand, man, because Nintendo appeals to children, it appeals to nostalgic gamers, and it appeals to casuals. We already know that, and Nintendo has always done well in portables. Even the ones that they were the worst at, like the 3DS, they still found a way to turn that around. But like I said, I wish we still had a lot of these Nintendo 3DS owners around that would still put their foot ground, because look at what y'all doing, man. Y'all paying $100 for SD cards, $100 for controllers, paying $40 for essentially full price for games, ain't even on the cartridge. You know most of these third party games. Nintendo Switch 2 will be the console that will have the least amount of physical games. Well, it'll have physical, but it will have the ones that are on the cartridge. We're about to see Nintendo go full PlayStation and Xbox with this new device, and yet ain't none of you guys saying a word about this. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you guys were some of the people that said, oh, we don't buy PS5 games and Xbox games because the games ain't on the disc. And guess what? Your games ain't even on the cartridge, and y'all still talking crap.
It actually ended up being a positive thing because more people started making videos like, complete guide to Nintendo Switch 2. There are a bunch of people. Philly Beats You. I made one. I think Rule 2 Review, he made something from there, which people still didn't know that. Or you simply just buy the game used, or you can buy the game, it's like $30-$40, and then you can upgrade from there. If you want the expansion pass, you can get it. It's not really needed, but if you want it, you can get it for $20, and then the upgrade is $10. If you have NSO, it already upgrades for you. You already have. If you have NSO,
yeah, but you don't own the upgrade though. See, what you don't understand that because if I'm not on Nintendo Switch Online, I lose access to that update though. How come, bro? You know what, man? Like this is what that's like Microsoft saying, "Hey guys, you got to pay us money to update your own games." Do you understand how stupid you sound? No, Microsoft gives you the update to play the game at the best of its capabilities for free. They don't charge you anything to do that. They don't charge you anything to access something. Maybe for the online, maybe to play games through Game Pass Ultimate, which to some people makes sense. But to go as far to say that we're charging you $10, or if you get the free updates for Tears of Kingdom just because you pay for Nintendo Switch Online is absolutely stupid to me.
Plus expansion pack. It already upgrades for you. So if you want the expansion pack, you can get that. Or if anything, you can just boom, you're good. You can just buy the game and
I
play.
told you guys, PlayStation and Nintendo fanboys, they're the same kind, bro. Now y'all starting to realize, like, wow, I didn't think Nintendo fanboys would be. I told you, I've called this out from the beginning. GameStop with another W. Nintendo fanboys and PlayStation fanboys are two of the same type of fanboys, bro. This is what I've been trying to tell you, bro. They all do the same crap.
So people just started
Paying
researching.
for overpriced hardware, overpriced games. I mean, overpriced memory cards, accessories, everything. I mean, you guys are essentially PlayStation fanboys, except this one, you got a Nintendo logo. That's the only difference.
More. And when people put out these claims, all it did was get more people to research and more people to buy what they want. Like, oh, wait a minute, okay. Or more people to seek out what is. How many people came to my stream saying, oh, you're supporting this? And I'm like, no, it's like this. And they're like, oh, well, I still don't like it. I'm like, okay, you didn't know. It's okay. You didn't know, right? People
well, there's one thing we know, that 99% of those games are game key cards. So for anybody that enjoys physical media, even in the slightest, is going to be put off by the Nintendo Switch 2. Exclusives alone is not going to want people to still buy this Switch 2. I mean, if you're really into physical games, you're going to be in physical games. I mean, we probably knew that maybe some of them, but there is no excuse when you guys have games like Sonic Shadow Generations, which is on the Switch 1 on the cartridge. Games like Suikoden, which is on the cartridge on the Switch 1, but ain't on the Switch 2. People are going to be like, yo, what is going on here? It's like ever since Nintendo introduced this new policy and companies have been following suit with it, it seems like they've been doing the bare minimum now.
Twitter, whatever the case is. So it's just keeping the conversation up, and you're getting a lot of people that are coming out and saying, calling people names for literally correcting misinformation. And that's how you know that they've lost. That's how you know that the plot is lost. When people get mad that people say misinformation. Like, if you're a content creator and you get mad at people correcting you for something.
Just like I'm going to correct you and say that 99% of the games, I'm sorry if I keep saying this, but this is true, that 99% of the third-party games dropping on the Switch besides Cyberpunk is a game key card. But y'all don't want to talk about that, right? Even Final Fantasy, this guy's talking about Final Fantasy Remake integrated. What's even more laughable about that, at least that game is on the PS4 and the PS5 disc. At least they can sit there and say they own it, which you can't.
That was factually wrong. You lost the plot, right? So I think that's the good news. That's the good news. I'm probably not going to support it, and you should not talk about it with a huge platform. That is what you should really do. So that's why I think it's a little bit of, like I said, I don't think he truly does. Because if he truly did, he would not talk about it. Big content creators know their influence. They know how much they can get paid for literally talking about something, positive or negative, depending on the situation, right? So with obviously, I didn't think that was going to be, it's not going to make it irrelevant. Clearly it's not. But whatever, that's fine. It's his opinion. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, it didn't hurt me or nothing. Like, okay, he made a video on it. He doesn't even play the system. But that's fine. He's allowed to have his own video, you know? Wolfden's Steam Deck and Switch 2 video is so much better than any of those other Steam Deck fanboy videos. But because Wolfden actually plays all the systems and has knowledge of Nintendo and all of them. Like, he looks at it from a fair lens. He's not... I heard OJ sold his wife his Steam Deck so that he can switch to MSRP, baby. MSRP. Oh, Destiny, real quick. I want to ask you a question. Destiny, did you get a Switch too? Were you able?
You know, like I said, I can't support Nintendo because I've had people tell me that GameStop, you said you was going to get one. But, man, after seeing that library of game key cards, man, it makes a brother wonder, like, bro, I'm not supporting this, bro. Like I said, I'm happy with my Switch 1s. I really am, and I will continue to buy games for the Switch 1 just because the games are actually on the cartridge, man. I'm going to take that stand. I'm not going to support Nintendo. If I end up getting one, we'll see how that goes. But like I said, man, the only games that people are going to really buy on it is exclusive. But I think real gamers are going to be like, yo, like, their Switch 2 library is going to be looking a lot smaller than it did with the Switch 1 because they're only going to be buying a very selective few games. And that's what the Switch 2 is going to be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is, man. But hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Like I said, man, Nintendo fanboys are going crazy for absolutely nothing. Paying $100, even justifying as to why they can't even use their old SD cards where Nintendo could have had 2 slots. They could have had one for the Switch 1 and Switch 2, and you could have accessed your Switch 1 games through that SD card while also using the other one for Switch 2 games, kind of similar to what the PS5 and the Xbox Series X with their SSD. There was no excuse as to why Nintendo couldn't incorporate the micro SD card from the previous generation. This Switch 2 is probably the least compatible system that we've ever seen. I could use a PS4 on it now, mind you, for certain games. PS4 on a PS5 console. I could use that. Xbox One on an Xbox console. PS4 games on a PS5. Xbox One games, even 360, whatever, right? I can use those games. Backwards compat. Now, mind you, for some of the games, we're hearing that they got issues, some bugs. They're not essentially one-for-ones, and the ones that are the ones that you got to pay $20 to upgrade. Like I said, man, Limited Run or whoever that makes games, a lot of these games are not going to be functional on this Switch. They're not. And this is bad, bro. So for all the people defending this crap, man, you're going to see less and less physical games for this system and more game key cards. It is what it is, bro. The Switch 2, matter of fact, you can't take your Switch 1 controller. I don't even think you can take your Switch Pro. Like, bro, you cannot literally take anything. This is by far one of the worst Nintendo backwards compatible devices that I've ever seen in my life. You can't take the SD card, the memory card. You can't even take, well, you can take some of the games. The games is probably the only portion you can do. And what else? You can't take the controllers, the accessories. You can't take anything. Like, it's crazy, bro. But like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and take care. Peace out.